My name is Kayla Bartholomew, and my social justice topic is animals in captivity. I chose to do this topic because it was a subject that I have thought about since the time I was 6 years old. The reason I have thought about this topic since then is I have seen firsthand the way that any animal can show they are frustrated in captivity. My family had always had a tradition of going to the circus and spending all day at the fair that came with it. Well, the day started out pretty normally, and the tigers came out to perform. They seemed to be doing what they needed to be doing, and then all of a sudden, one of the tigers did not want to stand on its stand. After numerous attempts by the trainer to get the tiger to stand, the tiger reached over and clawed the trainer's face. Now, I did not know it then, however, this is a sign of the animal not being happy, and I want to show other people the signs of stress and captivity and what really happens in the zoos and aquariums. When people think about captivity, what's the first thought that comes to mind? Happy animals that love to perform and show off what they have learned? Or how about animals that love to watch everyone come and see them while they just sit in their enclosure eating treats and being completely satisfied with their lives in captivity? Well, the truth is, animals in captivity could not be further from the truth than that. However, before I dive into that, I would like to tell you about what zoos and aquariums were started for and how they evolved over time. In articles such as History of Captive Management and Conservation Amphibian Programs, mostly in Zoos and Aquariums, Part 1 and Part 2, they talk about the original plan for animals that were being brought into these places. They were brought in for species conservation and for the scientists to study them. They wanted to be able to understand these animals on a deeper level to be able to protect them for future generations. It started out like this for most species. Only the animals that were endangered were supposed to be brought in and bred until the species were no longer endangered and they were slowly reintroduced into the wild. Zoos and aquariums were never supposed to be a permanent living situation for any of the animals. In Georgia, we have Zoo Atlanta and the Georgia Aquarium. These organizations are supposed to be for educating the public. From what I gather from some of the people around me, they do not learn when they go to these places. They go to see cool animals that you don't get to see every day, and that's it. They do not learn anything, nor do they really want to learn anything. When you Google the Georgia Aquarium or Zoo Atlanta, you can see that their main goal is ticket sales. There is little to no information about the saving the animals aspect that they are supposed to have. They have no numbers listed on how many animals they have helped. However, guess what they do have? They have places to donate money and to buy tickets. To me, this says a lot about the goals of the place like this. Their main goal is to make money. They do the bare minimum for the animals so they can profit more. In Florida and California, there are 2 SeaWorlds. I have to admit, I have been to SeaWorld. Who doesn't want to go see dolphins and whales jump out of tanks and do flips? However, previously stated, these places were not meant to keep animals for their entire lives. SeaWorld Orlando has over 25,000 animals that they say they have rescued. A specific part of SeaWorld is that they stress on the rescuing animals, but also releasing them when they can survive on their own. Nowhere on SeaWorld's website do they say how many animals they have released, but they sure do say how many animals they have quote-unquote saved. One of the things that stood out to me when I was reading about SeaWorld in Orlando is that they hire fishermen to go out and find the killer whale packs. A fisherman would trap the whales and take the babies while leaving the mother whales mourning their babies like it was a death. The fisherman said that you could hear the sounds of the mother's mourning for miles and miles. Now, some people may ask, what is so wrong with animals that live their life behind bars? It seems like the problem is only that. However, there are a lot more elements that go into these animals' lives being terrible. There are many things that are wrong with the enclosures themselves. Lighting is one of the big problems with the enclosures. If you think about the light that comes in from the sun and the light that comes from fluorescent lighting, it's extremely different. Wild animals are used to being in the sun, not under a bulb. This is causing problems for the animals in the sense that they need to be on a natural time schedule to be able to function, and when they're under a bulb, the natural timing is off. It messes up not only the timing for food, but also for their reproductive cycles. I did not think that lighting was a big of a deal as it is, but it can mess everything up for the animals if they don't get enough natural light during the day. The second problem that happens with the enclosures is the sounds that are not natural sounds. Think about being in jail. You hear the cell slamming, people screaming and yelling, and the maintenance that is going on in the cell beside you. This is what these animals go through every day in captivity. There are sounds that scare them and they don't know how to respond other than being violent towards other animals and humans. You also have to think about the sounds that us humans can't hear. The buzzing of the light bulbs is a major problem. The animals can hear this buzzing sound and it is enough to drive the animals insane. Captivity doesn't sound so good now, does it? The third and final problem with captivity is the dangers of performance. Everything looks great and peaceful. It looks like the animals actually enjoy performing. The truth is, the animals hate performing for the people, and they show signs that anyone could pick up on. In the Netflix special Blackfish, it talks about the killer whales killing the trainers. Killer whales are not normally a predator for humans. However, when you force an animal to do something that they don't want to do, it takes a toll on the animal. This particular whale showed numerous attempts to the trainer that he was not wanting to perform. He did not listen to the whistle that told him to perform the tricks. He did not react when she went to give him fish. He showed cues that he wanted to go into the bigger tank and not be in the show tank any longer. The trainers did not acknowledge these cues, so the whale did the only thing that he knew to do, and that was to act out. Unfortunately, that ended up killing the trainer. This is one of the specific examples of animals not wanting to perform. Animals are meant to be wild and do whatever they want to do. They are not meant to do flips and such on command. These animals need to be free and wild. Everyone thinks that there is no way to solve these problems. However, there is a very simple solution to solve this. Shut down the zoos and aquariums. This is probably one of the most beneficial to the animals. The solution solves every problem with the enclosures and anxiety that the animals face every day of their lives. In the wild, they don't have to worry about people seeing them and wanting them to perform. They don't have to worry about when they will get fed and when they're going to get space to run and be wild animals. I know that some of the animals do not have the skills to fend for themselves in the wild. However, if the trainers train them to be more self-sufficient instead of training them to do tricks, they would be able to be released into the wild. Another solution to this problem is an animal sanctuary. Some animals cannot ever live on their own in the wild. So the option that's closest to being in the wild on your own is being at an animal sanctuary. That way, they can get the help that they need when they need it and still remain to do whatever they want to do. The third solution to the problem at hand would be letting the animals go free in their natural habitat and put humans in an enclosed van. That way they can see the animals being wild and still be safe. This is what they do in New Zealand, and it's really seeming to work. It also makes the people realize what the animals feel like when the animals were locked up. The fourth and final solution is to stop buying tickets to the zoos and aquariums and let them run out of money. If they are not making money, they will be forced to let the animals go back into the wild. In conclusion, the first step to getting the animals free is spreading the awareness about what really happens in captivity. If these animals were treated like wild animals from the time they got there, we wouldn't be in the situation that we are in now. Policymakers need to make policies that prevent these people from profiting from animals' suffering.